We got into this argument with a couple of my boys in Mykonos, that has transcended Mykonos and is now living in the States.
Johnny Unitas isn't better than Pat Mahomes. He's not better than Joe Burrow. I'm sorry, he's just not.
If Kevin Durant played from 1982 to 1995, he might be the GOAT. And homeboy heaves the ball to half court. Adam catches it, no dribble, two-step, nails a half-court shot, right, to win the game, and the place goes bananas.
There's a length to look out. He's got a shot.
Yeah, one of the best comeback. I think it's labeled best comeback in college basketball history.
And the kicker was Not Like Us, which, for all intents and purposes, wasn't even a top 3 battle song in that battle. What it was, though, was a smash hit, right?
I mean, I have 3 Kendrick Lamar songs on my phone, so people will probably discount anything that I say after that. I don't think.
And then at the end of the day, dog, what did it do? Maybe a small chink in Drake's armor.
Can't Teach Taste podcast featuring your boys Matt Ghanem and Todd Tomlinson. Hope you guys enjoyed the content we had on the last episode, talking a lot about the NBA. We got a couple more NBA topics today, but we're actually going to finally make our transition into music that we've been talking about. Before we start, shout out Big Face Coffee right here. My guy Jimmy Butler bringing some of the best products that they have to market. I tried a bunch of his different coffees in my house, popped into his Miami pop-up after it opened, and I know he's doing – all right, his Miami shop's full, and he's doing some other pop-ups around the country. So if you guys see Big Face, give it a shot. Jimmy Butler, big coffee fan. Coffee and Domino's for playoff Jimmy, hopefully this year. Todd, have you got a chance to try it yet? If not, I'll send you some.
Yeah, send me some, man. I've been meaning to try it. Like you, I'm a big coffee drinker. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. They need to open one out here in LA, my way. But yeah, send me some of that stuff, brother.
I will. I'll
Need
hit you. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna hop right into it. We got into this argument with a couple of my boys in Mykonos, that has transcended Mykonos and is now living in the States. It's whether or not Larry Joe Bird is a top 10 basketball player of all time, and the fact that he would get 40 from KD every night, no matter what, or 50 or 75 or 100. And everyone keeps sending me highlights of, Larry Joe driving baseline and dunking on someone. I'm like, it's not slow motion, but it looks slow motion. I mean, what do you think, man? I mean, come on, man.
Listen, Larry Bird was great for his era, and people always say you can't compare eras in basketball, and I'm like, why not? Because in every other sport, not every other sport, but if you look at, track and field, for example, we were having this talk the other day, Matt. The greatest of all time is whoever holds the record for being the fastest ever. So, if there's a sprinter from the 1920s who won, 4 straight gold medals, but ran the 100 in 11 seconds, that's not the greatest sprinter of all time, right? It's Usain Bolt. It's, whoever's recent. So when I always look at the eye test, and if you drop Larry Bird in his prime up against KD in his prime, I'm taking KD every day of the week. And I'm sorry, it's going to piss a lot of people off, but again, Larry Bird was great, but we look at his skill level and how much has changed. KD is a better basketball player at his prime than Larry Bird was. He just was more athletic, can do more. I don't think it's a debate or an argument. And I think the people who argue on the side of Larry Bird, which is fine, are, the old heads and the people who grew up watching Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and people who want to say Magic's better than Steph. No, he's not. He's not. Larry Bird is not better than Kevin Durant, okay? Put highlight to highlight, and you tell me with your eyes, unless you're a blind man, who is a better basketball player, and it's KD 7 days out of the week.
I mean, I got sent this highlight, and he hit someone with kind of like a little, literally basic fundamental jab step. And the dude falls over and he pulls up. And I'm like, who the fuck is falling down from a jab step from Larry Joe Bird? Right? I mean, it's just not, the 80s. Bro, that's what I'm saying. His highlights of him going baseline and laying it up, that's getting pinned 9 out of 10 times today. He's not going by someone that fast. Even Ant, who's 4 inches shorter than him. I mean, Ant's cooking him.
It's a different level of skill.
And there's
It
way
just
more
is.
athleticism. It just is.
Yes. And Larry Bird was great for his era. Great player. One of the all-time greats for his era. But the level of skill and development that players have these days is just better and just different. You're not going to tell me that Jerry West is better than Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving would score 70 points and get by anybody he wanted to in that era. Just they're better. You can't compare eras. If I'm looking at a player, and again, if I have a time machine and I'm dropping, Larry Bird at his prime in the gym with KD in his prime, I'm taking KD. And if your life was on it, you would take KD too. I'm talking to everybody out there. You're taking KD.
100%. You got someone that needs to give you 40, and you got these two. And if the guy you pick doesn't, you die. Like, nobody's picking Larry Joe Bird. 0 people. Not even Boston Celtics fans. Like, put him on this past Olympic team. Who's he playing over? I mean, the only argument you can make is Tyrese Halliburton, maybe, right? Who didn't even play.
And again, we're not hating on Larry Bird. All-time great, dog, amazing player, dominant in that era.
Talked hella shit, which I love.
Love his game for that time, obviously, and love what he did. But I don't love where you can't compare, eras of football. Like Johnny Unitas isn't better than Pat Mahomes. He's not better than Joe Burrow. I'm sorry, he's not. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's okay.
Imagine if you put Kevin Durant on the 1992 Dream Team instead of Larry Joe Bird.
Kevin Durant's, he's, aside from Jordan.
The one thing this taught me, and this is going to be a crazy take, is if Kevin Durant played from like 1982 to 1995, he might be the GOAT. He might.
Up to this point, if you look at it,
so slow and so unathletic, and couldn't shoot like that. They had no mid-range pull-up game like that. Like, nobody was that big handling the ball. Like, nobody, in his defense, even now, post serious injury. I'm not even talking pre-injury. Talk pre-injury, he's guarding everyone. No one's going by him. It would be the KD at the Rucker Park would be KD every night. Against these dudes that Larry Joe Bird's dropping that are our size, weighing 140 pounds. Dude, like KD's, and it's not even just KD. Imagine Ant Edwards' athleticism back then, or even Derrick Rose, or any of these guys. Like, Jordan is one, and maybe Pippen for sure, where you could pull them out of the 90s and put them in 2022, right?
That's why he's the GOAT. That's why Jordan
can't. Yeah, LeBron could go backwards. A lot of these guys could go backwards and be great. And be top 5 or top 10. Like, they could be up there. Like, a lot of guys could be some of the best players in the NBA. If you took 20 of them, they all couldn't be top 5. But if you took all the guys in the Olympics and sprinkled them through the NBA, that was literally, if no one remembers, on one night a week and on tape delay. That's how bad it was, right? Jordan changed that. That. And that's also part of the reason why he's the GOAT. Because the NBA that we see now wouldn't be the same without Jordan. But if you put, I don't know, put Ant Edwards or put, any of these guys, like, I don't know, even Tatum or Brown or any of these guys, they're cooking these guys. So it's hard. It frustrates me, and I enjoy the dialogue when I get these Larry Bird things where it's like watching him, like, reverse dunk on someone. I'm just like, that would never happen now. It could not. It's impossible. There's no way.
And again, to the people out there who, appreciate the 80s and the old basketball, it's okay. Like, we're not saying Larry Bird wasn't a great player, but he is not better than a lot of the players that are elite at his position today. He's just not. The skill level, basketball's evolved. Players can do more. They're shooting better. They're dribbling better. The athleticism's at an all-time high. Things have changed, and it is what it is, and you're arguing for the sake of arguing, and it's all right. Like, Bill Russell isn't better than Jokic. He's not.
No. Bill Russell wasn't even very dominant. He was on a good team for a long time. But imagine Shaq in that position. What are you doing with Shaq when everyone's our size? Come on.
Come on.
You just can't. Dude, you put Allen Iverson in the 70s and 80s?
Yep.
How many rings does AI win? And nobody's guarding him.
You can compare eras, guys. You can compare 100%. Eras, and the game's going to continue to evolve and get better. And that's why Jordan is the GOAT. You drop Jordan in today's game, He's nasty. He's going to be dominant. He could score at, all levels. Wasn't an elite 3-point shooter, but he could do it all. Jordan's the GOAT. But a lot of players, you drop them into today's game. I'm not saying they wouldn't play, but they wouldn't be the perennial All NBA.
I mean, Joe Dumars is starting on a finals team.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably not. No.
Probably not. Could he start in the NBA? For sure.
Yeah.
Is he gonna start? Is he gonna start over Shea or Jalen Williams in the next 5 years? No, he's not. Right? Is he gonna start over Steph or Clay? Is he gonna start over Steph or Clay?
Of course not. No, of course not.
Is he gonna start over Derek White or Tatum or Brown? Of course not.
No.
Maybe they plug him in, as Peyton Pritchard, but that's a hard thing to say. And then also, like, I wonder too, you look now and players are more athletic. Like, obviously Barry Sanders was ahead of his time in the NFL from an elite athleticism standpoint, maybe even LaDainian Tomlinson, right, who came after him. But, there's not a lot of Saquon Barkleys, but there isn't any prime Derrick Roses. There's a lot of guys that are really athletic in the NBA now. If you go back to the 80s, I mean, where was the athleticism besides Jordan? Like, who else was banging on people? Who else was going to the hole and hanging in the air and switching hands? Dominique? Yeah. Vince Carter next, maybe. Dominique in the 80s, the only one.
Just do yourself a favor and watch the dunk contests from the 80s. Aside from, maybe some of the stuff Jordan was doing, watch those dunk contests. Then watch, Mac McClung, who's not even good enough to play in the NBA, right? And you'll see the different levels of athleticism. Or look at the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk contests, which might be, the best of all time.
What would Dwight Howard do in the 80s?
Dominate.
It'd be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're fired up about this because this is crazy. I can't believe we haven't even talked about this. And it's from people who don't know what they're talking about, and then people who are older who obviously came up on the Larry Birds and the Magic Johnsons and whatever. And that was their era, the golden era. And they hadn't seen it. They remember what they saw in the dominance of that time because they were dominating, but they forget, what the game looks like and how much has changed.
We came back and we were in Beacon Dose and we were like chilling, having a couple of beers, like 2:30 in the morning. And my wife calls down to one of the girls and is like, "Is everything okay?" Because we were arguing so loud. She thought we were all fighting. She thought there was like a Royal Rumble going on, right? Because we're like screaming about this. And she like calls down and she goes, "Who is Larry Joe? Why do they keep talking about Larry Joe?" You know what I mean? Because I kept saying Larry Joe's not doing any work, bro. Like he's just not giving anyone buckets. He's just not. Not now. Maybe back then he was giving buckets. He was talking shit. He was killing people, shooting left-handed. You imagine Larry Bird showing up against the fucking 16, 17 Warriors trying to shoot fucking left-hand threes?
No. I mean, no.
Bro.
Sorry. I know it's going to upset people like our boy Adam Spanish. Shout out Adam.
Adam knows basketball as good as anyone. Adam knows that doesn't make sense, but he's dying on that hill, bro.
Adam, USC legend, Adam Spanish. Sorry,
Mr.
buddy.
Oklahoma 2 years in a row in high school. He knows that doesn't make sense. He does.
No,
Adam knows, and Adam might give Larry Joe some buckets too.
Yeah,
I'm just being honest. He might. I mean, Adam giving him buckets for sure.
Adam was cold.
Adam was cold. If anyone doesn't know, Google. I think it was 6 points in like 2.9 seconds. I think it was USC versus Oregon. Adam hits a corner three in Oregon, and they're talking about the next game that USC is going to play. They put like the Pac-10, records up on the screen. They're like, the game's over, right? Adam hits a corner three, right? They throw it into him, hits a real quick corner three. They're down 5. So now there's like 1 second left on the clock. They're at 2. And homeboy throws, like, heaves the ball to half court. Adam catches it, no dribble, 2-step, nails a half court shot, right, to win the game, and the place goes bananas, right?
Might have to post that on this pod, yeah.
Yeah, one of the best comeback. I think it's labeled best comeback in college basketball history.
And Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I have Washington and Arizona, and Washington's going to come limping into Tucson.
Here's a length. Look out. He's got a shot.
Century. Henry Bibby has run off the floor. He's gone downstairs already. Barry, the Pac-10 is absolute bedlam. This is craziness.
Because you're down 5 with 2.6 seconds or whatever, 2.9 seconds.
And correct
right?
me if I'm wrong. I think Phil Knight was in attendance, and Adam was talking shit to Phil Knight in Oregon after he hit that game winner, the slit. Yeah.
Adam did that, and I love Adam because Adam's in the moment, and the announcer goes, "And the classless move by Spanish."
And Spanish went up and gave the cutthroat, in a classless act, I might add, to the fans here. And Adam Spanish is not that kind of guy, emotionally involved, and his shot was something special. But the act after
This
was
has to be one of the greatest comebacks in Pac-10 history. 5 points in 2.8 seconds.
all by Adam Spanish. Actually, 6 points, and they win it.
He didn't care. That's hilarious.
No, that's
Shout out
bro.
Adam. Shout out
Stone
Adam.
Cold
Yeah.
Adam, bro. Stone Cold Adam Spanish. And his boy Zeke. His boy Zeke's cooking some people. He's like 6 years old now. He's cooking some people. He's
Zeke's
coming
next
soon.
up.
He is. He
Yes,
is.
sir.
So, is there any other? And again, before we stop, KD, 50 points a night against Larry Joe Bird. End of story. Zero debate. Everyone knows. Is there any other eras? Like, 'cause obviously you can compare the eras by like just the athleticism. That's the challenge, and the longevity. So it's whether they're putting different things into their body. Like you have Ronaldo playing till 40, Tom Brady winning Super Bowls in his 40s, LeBron, top 10, top 7 NBA player last year at 40 years old. Like Steph, top 10 player. He's 37. He'll be there in 38, 39, right? He's going to continue to. I mean, you saw him running with the weighted vest up that hill in the mountain and stuff like. Yeah. I mean, dude, at 37 years old, Larry Joe Bird was probably 30 pounds overweight, right? Like you're not. The nutrition's different. Maybe it's the hormones in the food that make people bigger and stronger and faster, right? All the hormones are pumping into these animals and stuff. So, it's just.
And there's
it's
more. And there's more available to athletes, right? You look at whatever, cryotherapy, all these other things for recovery, the facilities, right, that have all these state-of-the-art workout machines and equipment, just more facilities in general, more training, right? Back when Larry Bird was playing, they didn't have machines that would, fire a ball back at you where you can get 1,000 shots up in an hour and a half, right? So yeah, obviously they're at a way better advantage these days to be able to be better and be better athletes with technology and advancements, and whether it's medicine or training. So 100%, like we're not saying that, right? Maybe if those players were afforded what the players of today have, things would be different. But they didn't have that shit. So it is what it is, right? And you can't, so I'm sorry, it just is what it is. The players do have these advantages. They do have more at their disposal to become better athletes, better players. And to your point, Matt, that's a big part of it. But it just is, right? Sorry.
I mean, dude, you got all different kinds of like shots you can put in your knee when you're hurt, and like shots you can do in your shoulder, the exome stuff, the stuff you used to even sell, like all these things. Like when LeBron was his calf, when he was his calf that LeBron got your old company shot in, right? Like
calf and Achilles, the stem cells.
That shit didn't exist, bro. Yeah, I mean, come on, like ankle, record time coming back from injuries. They're more athletic. They jump higher. They're bigger. They're stronger. They're faster. It's the nutrition, and also like think about this is going to sound dumb, but like when you're growing up, so we're talking, we're in middle school in the 90s, and you look at the food pyramid, it's telling you got to eat like 10 freaking white bread, servings per day of like carbs and cereal and shit, which obviously isn't. It's the opposite. You got to flip that shit over, right? Because that's not what these athletes are eating. They're not eating that shit. Like even just the mentality of what you're supposed to do to be, tip top shape is just not the case. Like it just was wrong. You know what I mean? I know that's a simple thing, but like when you look at like if you look at Ronaldo's diet or Tom Brady's diet, I mean Ronaldo's eating like fish and veggies and like maybe a little rice, and then he works out and naps, and then he eats that again, and then he works out and naps, and then he has like a real dinner. But he's like eating so much protein and so little carbs, only complex carbs, no simple carbs. You know what I mean? So they're just, and then you add all the hormones that's in the meats and things that people are growing up with, and again, like it's just a wrap. Like it's almost an unfair comparison. That's why Jordan, you could fast forward, and again, Jordan, I believe, would be a good 3-point shooter if he tried. He just didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And he did get better later in his career. No, it didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't as prevalent in the game back then, right? And here we go. I'm not going to get you started. It's not as prevalent in the game back then. People like Steph Curry, who is the greatest point guard of all time, not Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, made the 3-point shot even more prevalent. And Jordan was such a competitor. If the 3-point shot was as prevalent then as it is now, he would have worked on it and made
He
sure
shot
that it was a part of
a
his
day in the
game.
offseason. Yeah.
And Jordan is the outlier. That's why he's the GOAT. Jordan was smoking cigars, playing golf, and still out there, dominating.
Drinking beers.
So imagine if he had, and he's still the GOAT. Imagine if he was doing what players of today are doing. But yeah, so we don't have to get started on that, but we're going to eras again. Steph Curry is the greatest point guard of all time. And that could be another hour and a half conversation of why. But I think it's not even a debate. So, but yeah, Jordan could be if he wanted to be. The game has changed, and that just is what it is.
Yeah, the Jerry West Kyrie thing's hilarious. Kyrie would stir fry chicken, bad,
Yeah.
like just oh god. I mean,
The
Kyrie's
skill.
stir frying almost everyone now. Like
You guys.
I mean, and you think about ball handling. Just look at the ball handling. So you say like you almost take Kyrie out of it. Kyrie, you can't even include him, and who's the best ball handler because it's ridiculous, right? And his layup package and all of that. Steph's up there. I mean, who from the 80s are we talking about cooking people like that? They just couldn't. I don't know why. Maybe it was all the things we were talking about or what. I don't know. Nobody did it, though. I mean, AI was the first person where, I mean, his cross, like when he would hit you with that cross, it was just like, I mean, nobody's checking him. That was the first time. And
there are players who had it. I mean, they're like the Tim Hardaways. It wasn't as prevalent like Tim Hardaway's, even Nick Van Exel, players like that. But to your point, I mean, like cooking and putting people on complete skates, Allen Iverson made that crossover prevalent. But there are like Tim Hardaway,
And Tim Hardaway's killer crossover, definitely. I mean, I used to work on that as a kid. Through the legs, right to left, behind the back, left to right, pull up three. I mean, I did that 3 hours a day growing up, right? I was working. I could still hit that shot. I can't shoot any off-balance shot with any regularity besides that one because I just muscle memory. And he was getting separation, but he wasn't dropping people every game. And to your point, I mean, Nick Van Exel's super slept on. I slept on him with that comment too. I mean, Nick the Quick was like coming down Nick at night, just coming down with, I mean, just almost Kyrie-esque where he doesn't even know what he's going to do. And then he pulls off some move with the around the back, like behind the head pass, like just out of nowhere. Like he wasn't planning on doing that.
He was smooth, man. But anybody that has any doubt, just watch the finals, Golden State versus Cleveland, games 5 and 6. And obviously Kyrie hit that shot in game 7. Watch games 5 and 6. You're going to see just a display that, I mean, I don't know if there's a better 2-game stretch. Him and LeBron, but boy, it's silly. If you're going to compare him and say that like Jerry West or Bob Cousy is better than, I don't want to talk to you about it.
And all the Celtics fans, bro, hate on Kyrie. All the Celtics fans. Kyrie's trash, this and that, like blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, Kyrie's frying everyone, any point guard in your history. Bad.
Fine. There's Max. It didn't work out, right, in Boston with Kyrie for whatever reason. But, it's not even a debate or a discussion.
Nah, man. So, let's switch gears. Obviously, we're a little late on this, but it's the off season. We can hop into this music stuff. We have a lot of topics and content that we want to get into, before the NFL season, which is right around the corner. But this Drake and Kendrick beef, and we were talking, the other day, and give them your perspective on all the stuff that Kendrick did. The perception of Kendrick, like Kendrick became prominent to people that, I mean, my mom literally texted me, this is the first time I watched the Super Bowl and I didn't know who this person is at the Super Bowl show, right? So, like, all the stuff Kendrick did, him and his team systematically freaking did the right things. He didn't miss, and where are we at now? So, like, talk through that, what you were mentioning, man. Like, I mean, listeners want to hear it.
I mean, look, Kendrick won the battle, period. He, to your point, systematically, him and his team, they just outmaneuvered Drake. I think Drake thought it was going to go a different way and just didn't calculate the beef good enough, and the moves Kendrick was going to make. He systematically, step by step, kind of dismantled him in a couple of ways. And the kicker was Not Like Us, which, for all intents and purposes wasn't even a top 3 battle song in that battle. What it was, though, was a smash hit, right?
The beat was it.
And there were choruses and melodies in there that were catchy, that had people singing, that A minor and, just the chorus itself, right? Catchy as hell, became became a phenomenon. And so that won it. It was a hit. You heard it everywhere. But this is the thing, right? So Kendrick won. There's not a debate there.
I hate to see it, hate to hear it, but I can't argue with it.
Yeah, so right, Kendrick won. But at the same time, Kendrick, to your point, played everything right. Everything, right? Move by move, drops Not Like Us, the biggest hit. He's doing the Super Bowl, has everybody in the crowd singing, A minor, the biggest stage, right? Calling Drake a P-file, right? Saying he likes young kids. Everybody's dancing to it. And then at the end of the day, dog, what did it do? Maybe a small chink in Drake's armor. So Kendrick has to be sitting back like, I did everything right. Like every fucking thing right. The hit, I couldn't have played this any better, and it did nothing, right? All Drake did was drop for a whatever album with Party Next Door, and it had hits on there. Nokia was probably the song of the summer, not even a song that I like, but people, it's blasting in the club, right? There's hits on 100%. That album. It did, and it wasn't even an album that he probably even cared about. It was like a collaboration album with Party Next Door. Right, he does all that stuff, and now he's coming out with this Iceman stuff that's going crazy. And Kendrick's got to be like, he can be content. And Kendrick had an amazing year, right? He had a great run because of this battle, right? So Kendrick's sitting pretty. GNX had a lot of success, but at the end of the day, I know him and his team got to be like, damn, unkillable, dude. It honestly did nothing. It really didn't. And you tell me, I mean. You know a lot about the music industry, and you've studied it. If you talk about streams and stuff like that, what do you think that this battle that everybody thinks destroyed Drake, from your perspective, what do you think it did, if anything, to Drake and the popularity and the streams and the people who listen?
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff you mentioned, I mean, all correct, right? I mean, Kendrick won the beef. I don't even think it was a beef, though. I mean, it's a beef, right? But it's not I mean, is Kendrick upset that Drake's still prominent? Probably not, because what happened is Kendrick's, I mean, I have 3 Kendrick Lamar songs on my phone. So people will probably discount anything that I say after that. I don't think, he's just not my style. His voice, I mean, his lyrics and his metaphors and stuff, but I liken it to Eminem. I loved Eminem when I was a kid, right? But that angry, I'm going to kill my girl and kill my mom stuff, it's just not it to me, right? So I don't listen to Eminem. But I do, and I don't want to hear his voice either. But when he drops songs, his lyrics are complex. He puts a lot of thought into it. He's a great writer. I'll say the same about Kendrick. There's a lot of that where I'm like, damn, that's kind of fire, right? And the way that he dropped A minor, right? Because it's obviously a double entendre there, right? Because it's the note, but it's also a kid, right? So he cooked him with that, because he made, that's a Drake style kind of bar where people are it's gonna be catchy, because that's how you make a hit. Is it has hooks that are catchy, right? And parts of the song that are catchy. Doesn't matter how good the bars are, right? The bars are good too, which is helpful. So to me, Kendrick, I just don't like his voice. It has nothing to do with anything besides that, right? And what's interesting is you mentioned Drake dropping the album with Party Next Door, and I'll get into the streams and stuff. Obviously, shout out Orca Sound. We just got better placed in the new Madden. So when you're playing that Madden, man, listen to that Gash and Wiz. I get better when I want to get better. So I've learned a lot about the music business in the last couple of years. But you say people hate on Drake and say that he's a hater and stuff. Drake rides for his people, bro. He just did a collab album with Party Next Door, who's not my favorite at all, because that's his people, right? He put everyone on, bro. He put Kendrick on. The second Drake concert I went to, J. Cole opened for him, right? He's brought Kendrick on tour before. He brought on Kendrick and I think Playboi Carti on the same tour. Right. And he's like, yo, these are my boys. They can rap, take them seriously, buy their shit, whatever. He's riding for everyone, bro. He's put on the Afrobeat shit with One Dance and WizKid and them. He's put them on, bro. He's put on, I mean, the UK drill rappers. He's putting everyone on, bro. He's putting on people from Canada. He's putting on Texas. He's putting on Florida. He's putting on Atlanta. He's coming around with the stimulus package, right? So Drake isn't that guy. Drake, now maybe he won't be that guy, right? If I'm him, I'm not doing features for anyone. I guess it's besides 21 or his people, right?
He said it. Don't ask me for no favors, right? He said, what did I miss? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, he put out What Did I Miss? And Drake's also the king of switching the beat. I love when Drake does that shit where in the middle of the song, the whole vibe changes. He kills that shit. Nobody else does that.
King of that.
Now he's fired. But so from a streaming standpoint, look, here's what happened. When you look through the lawsuit, right, it's very obvious. UMG is trying to discount Drake, right? His last deal, I think, was $400 million advanced. He recouped that $400 million so fast. What happens when you recoup the money? Now there's a massive profit share, right? And the labels do all kinds of stuff. And I don't know specifically. I've heard stories from, multiple different high level artists about this. So what they'll do is, you're paying for studio time, right? So like they're billing you for studio time when you go to their studio, but all that stuff's inflated. They're charging, like, let's say they send in a bunch of food that they already have, or, talent to help, or writers, or anyone. They're adding that bill to your recoupable amount. So you don't make anything from your music until you recoup, right? So that $400 million advance, they're adding so much stuff to it, as much fluff as they can. They're charging however much per hour for studio time, right? But they're not paying for it because they already own it. So they can charge whatever they want. And they create this unattainable, recoupable balance that they just eat everything until you get there. But Drake blows through that because of his popularity, right? So they're trying to bring his value down, right? How do they do that? Well, they gave Spotify, who's, by the way, Spotify's worth more than all four majors combined. So what does that tell you? It's ridiculous. Like, of our streams, 85% of them come from Spotify, 15% from Apple. Apple pays a little over double what Spotify pays per million streams. So the music industry is in bed with Spotify for whatever reason. People are like, oh, you're a part of the music industry, you need to use Spotify. And I'm like, well, why the fuck would I use Spotify? Right? They pay less than half. No one should use Spotify. Like, if artists could never put their music on Spotify, it would create more competition and they would have to pay more. But they don't. So they're all in bed with Spotify. So UMG gives Spotify a discount. So you're only paying $3,000 per million streams if you're Spotify, which is a third of a cent per stream, which is crazy. Crazy. So you can't live off streams. No artist does. Obviously, if you're Kendrick or Drake with 80 million monthly listeners and you actually became independent and you dropped God's Plan, I mean, you're buying a mansion every month. Like, you're making crazy bread off of these types of songs, whether it's One Dance or Not Like Us or whatever it is. But the labels are getting all that money. And then, as an aside, the bigger the artist, almost always generally, the better the split for the label. So they might say, I have Todd Tomlinson and he's on a 50-50 deal. He's probably better than Matt, but Matt's on a 90-10 deal. We get 90. So what are we going to do? We're going to buy streams for Matt. We're going to get him on Jimmy Fallon. We're going to get him on Late Night. We're going to get him, to open up for, Drake or Kendrick. We're going to do all these things to make him prominent. And what they do is they buy the streams so that you open in the top, you're in the top 5. Then it's publicized that you're in the top 5. Every post you see on Instagram is bought. Rat, Our Generation, DJ Academics, all that stuff. It's all bought. I mean, it's not expensive either. So now you're a top 5 song and you buy a couple posts, one day where it drops and all the people see that day is how that's a top 5 song. So everyone goes to listen to it. And if it's actually good, then it runs and it stays up there. Like the bar song by Tipsy by Shabuzi, which by the way, Jaquan probably gets most of that, right? Because
that's going to ask, right?
It's his song. I mean, sure. If you do a straight cover, it's not a straight cover. But if you do a straight cover, the artist gets 100% of it. You get, rep because people are going to listen to like some Michael Jackson song that you're covering. Generally, the artist gets 100% of that, right? They're not going to get shit on when you perform and when you sell out stadiums, which is what Shabuzi, is selling out 5,000, person arenas. And that's where he's making his money. He's not making shit off a bar song. The other problem is he'll never match that. Whether that's a good thing or not is debatable, but he'll never make another bar song. He won't, and that's hard. But going back to Drake and Kendrick, so Spotify gives Kendrick, and this is from the lawsuit, a discount on the $3,000 per million, right? Because now if they can shove, Not Like Us on every playlist, right? And let's say you were going to listen to some song 1,000 times. Like, I'll listen to a song a couple hundred times a month when it's new, right? So if that switches to Not Like Us, now I'm paying out maybe 1,000 or 1,500 instead of 3,000 per million. So I'm getting a huge discount. So now they're incentivized to push it, right? So Spotify's working with UMG. Now UMG's promoting a song that calls Drake a pedo, right? And so now his value is coming down, right? Kendrick's the number 1 rapper. Kendrick's top this, top that. If you look at this year, only 1 month this year so far through 7 months was Kendrick the top streamed rapper. Drake was the other 6, right? So to your point, it didn't do a whole lot, but that's what they did. They're trying to devalue Drake. And if Drake, and if you notice, like, they already tried to settle it, and Drake doesn't want to. Drake doesn't need the money. So, like, you're going to offer him $100 million. He doesn't care. Because what happens is let's just say, and this would burn the music industry to the ground, potentially, if he can use this as a way to get out of his deal and possibly take some of his art, we call it art, with him, which is his music, his masters, if he could get Scorpion or Take Care or More Life or one of these crazy albums that does tons of streams and he owned it 100%, he wouldn't need to do anything for the rest of his life ever again. And that's why the industry got so mad at Michael Jackson, because he was buying up those catalogs. Like, you could read about that. He owned, like, the Beatles catalog and all this stuff.
Wild.
Right? They don't want that because, I mean, that's mailbox money in a big way forever. So that's sort of what happened with the Drake and Kendrick lawsuit, right? So they bought streams on Not Like Us, right? Which is what everyone does. They're all buying streams. So you could say that that's wrong. The wrong part about it is that they're essentially calling Drake a pedophile, right? In this song and supporting it. And that's supposed to be your employer. So to your point, it would be like, remember when Drake said, like Bron would come up and, whatever, without getting into that, with his wife or whatever, that'd be like Nike running ads talking about something bad that LeBron did, right? That's essentially what UMG was doing against Drake. And it just, Kendrick happened to be the benefactor. I will also say, I don't know how much your boy Jay-Z has to do with this. He does get to pick who's on the Super Bowl. And one thing we do know about Jay, as great as he is, and he's one of my favorites, he has an album that's, I mean, I won't really rank top 5 albums for me, but he's, Blueprint's in the top 5 for sure.
Oh,
it could be one, it could be 2.
One, probably. Blueprint's
I mean, it's one of the best albums. I love Jay. I mean, I have Jay playlists on my phone, different types of Jay playlists, just like I do Drake. Like, depends on what kind of vibe I'm in, But Jay's in charge of all this stuff now. He's the doorman, right? So,
tell him what the doorman means. Tell him what the doorman means.
He gets to decide who gets in the club, bro. He gets to decide who gets in the club, right? So, if you could look up some old like highlights of DMX talking about Jay-Z, like they picked the single, on Def Jam. They picked the single, they made the video, and then they're like, we're not dropping that shit. Like, and DMX said that Jay-Z didn't want competition, so he kind of got rid of him. So, look, if that's still the case, which a lot of people think it is, of course you're going to promote Kendrick, because Kendrick isn't competition. He's not even competition to Drake. And anyone that says that he is, it's crazy. Like, I've been on record for saying some crazy things like Take Care is better than Kendrick's catalog. So, pause real quick. What I mean by that is if I only had a choice of listening to Take Care for the rest of my life or Kendrick's catalog, I would choose Take Care. It's not even a question, right? Most people maybe wouldn't do that. I don't think Kendrick's diverse, and I just don't particularly favor him. But the point is now Jay put somebody in there that's not his competition. He also didn't want Eminem to be on the Super Bowl. And 50 said he wouldn't do it without M. Is Eminem competition for Jay-Z? Probably. There's a lot of lists that put Eminem ahead of Jay-Z. I would not agree with that at all, right?
He's one of the greats, though, at his prime. Eminem was one of the greats.
If Eminem died in 2005, I'd probably say he's the GOAT. If he never made anything after that, because he kind of fell off for 20 years, but that's another pod.
His first 4-album run was insane, and if he would have stopped there, I mean, that run, we won't get into it, but lyrically as a lyricist, Eminem was,
and he had a good sound. He had the recipe of one catchy radio banger that you put out, get everyone on the album, then you drop the other shit, and like also, man, like it's sad to say, but he was, and I'm happy for him as a person. But he got off all the stuff that he was on, and that kind of changed everything. And we've known that to happen. So as we talk about that, Kendrick's more prominent. He's way bigger than he ever was. Anyone that says Kendrick's always been this big is, I don't know what they're doing. They're just lost, right? Kendrick was never competition to Drake. You could say J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake are on the Mount Rushmore, right now or all time or whatever, but that's not really the case. Kendrick's not on the Mount Rushmore of rappers. Neither is J. Cole. And I love Cole. Don't like Kendrick. Drake's catalog is also so diverse, even for some of the shit I don't like, that if you only had one artist to listen to for the rest of your life, I mean, he's number one. You know what I mean? So it's like, right? Because he has everything, dude. Like even on the PND album, there's a song that's kind of a country vibe. That's fire. It's the one that's after Nokia, right? So it's like he does a lot. But anyway, so that's sort of the getting into the nitty gritty of the music business and how it works and how is Kendrick making money. I guarantee you he's not making a whole hell of a lot on those streams. They probably have a pretty label favored deal. But when he's selling out those freaking stadiums, bro, selling
That's
out
where it is.
State Farm, he's making so much
Brazil.
money off that shit, bro.
He's overseas selling out arenas.
He's making so much money, bro. Like he's killing it, right? And like even I saw a stat on Morgan Wallen's tour, right? He did only 19 shows. He did like 11 cities, 19 shows.
Is that it?
Right?
From when? I feel like he's been doing a ton of shows over the last, call it like year.
No, this last tour was 19 shows, 11 venues. Okay. The tour that he did before, I mean, he did a million shows for his last album, and it lasted over like a year and a half. But this one, so they said he did 500 million in ticket sales. And I mean, his merch, and I don't believe, generally the artists don't make anything off liquor sales, but generally they get part of the door, and then they get the merch and all the merch. Maybe the venue gets a little bit because they probably have to staff it, right? And maybe they can negotiate a little bit of the liquor, but that's not really where it normally lives. And it said like 500 million in ticket sales, and then about $1 million in merch, or $100 million in merch. I mean, these lines when we were there, I mean, people are buying $50 T-shirts every single person that comes, and there's 70,000 people in that place, right? And that's 2 nights in a row. So with, obviously, like I don't know if his agent's BMG or who it is, right? Or CAA. It's probably CAA. Everyone's under CAA. Shout out Sean Peckus running CAA Sports, but that's our guy. But so they get a lot of it, right? And the venues get some. They said that he will still end up making like $80 million or 60 to 80 million of the 500, right? And that's in 19 shows, bro.
That's crazy. That's 19 nights of work, man. That's wild.
So Kendrick, and that's an hour and a half tops. So Kendrick's, I mean, not a big fan, but shout out Kendrick. I mean, he won the beef. Yeah. He's prominent. He has, similar monthly listeners to Drake, less streams, and he could sell out arenas probably forever.
To your point, it's a good one, man. Like, even though he's not making money off those streams, those push streams are part of the reason he's selling out those arenas and making all that money, right? So
he gets it on the back end, you know?
For sure.
And then as an aside for everyone listening, if anyone's intrigued, you might be intrigued by this. There's plenty of tour deals where what happens is they sign the artist, they give them an advance, they set up a tour, right? But they don't read the contract. So what happens is the artist is getting a percentage of the door, getting nothing from the merch, nothing from the liquor, nothing from the parking, nothing from the food. What does the tour company and the label do? Because the label's fronting the money, so they recoup and then eat. And the tour company, what do? They fucking give BOGO tickets. They're selling tickets for nothing because they don't care about the tickets because they don't want you to recoup. Because now you got to work for the rest of your damn life to recoup before you can ever do another show. And they're going to sell the beers and sell the merch and sell the parking and food and all that stuff at a premium and take all that because you don't get it. So now you're out there doing 5,000 person shows, and you're like in the hole after 3 months of that. You're still in the hole, like deep, and you don't know. And what do? You can't get out of it because you probably like generally sign something that they're your agent until you recoup. You can't fire them. You can't do other shows. If you go do a 100 bands wedding, let's just say they pay you 100 bands, like they'll get that unless you can hide it from them because the businessman. This is the craziest part, and this probably is the same in sports, right? So let's say. So you have a business manager that makes 5% of what you bring in, 10%, whatever it is, right? They're your accountant. You think like the business managers and the managers and the labels hold their relationships generally, probably not with a Drake or someone like that, but maybe they do. Generally, they hold those relationships in higher regard than their client relationship because they're passing clients to each other. Like they're relying on each other for the future of their business and their prospects and all that stuff because they're only getting a little piece, but they're getting a little piece from everyone. So you can't hide shit because they have your personal account. They got everything. So unless you write the shit to their mom, you can't hide it unless you give it to them in cash. Nike can't pay LeBron without the business manager knowing, who's telling the agent to make sure they get their cut, who's telling the lawyer to make sure they get their cut. They're all together. So the lawyer's like of course the lawyer's trying to like help you in your individual deal. But the lawyer, if it's with the label, the lawyer is going to favor the label over you because they have to work with the label forever. They don't have a choice. There's only 4 majors. What are you going to do? Screw over Sony for your client, and then your client, 5 years later is gone. He fires you or, doesn't make music anymore. And what happens? Now you can't work with Sony. You can't do that, right? Crazy. So the whole system is set up to essentially extract value from the artist and the label.
Like against the artist. It feels like the whole system is set up against the artist, and it's gotten so deep, and streaming changed everything, right? In the music game, it's like now, like what can you do, right? I get this Drake thing will will be huge, man. If this
I mean,
domino
if he gets
falls.
out,
Yeah, right.
his out's going to change a lot.
It will, but to your point, that's nuts, man. They don't care about the ticket sales a lot of times because they're getting paid off of everything else. So now they're pushing tickets, to your point, for $5 sometimes, whatever, just to get people in the door.
Dude,
to buy
Beyonce's
the
tour
merch.
they were giving, dude, you could go on Marriott. They're saying it's the highest grossing tour of all time. You go on Marriott and you can get 2 free tickets for like 100 Marriott points, right? But that's different. They're trying to make her look bigger than she is. And Beyonce's huge, but she's not as big as she was. I mean, she won was it a Grammy for best country album?
Don't get you started.
Bro, there's a one country fan listening to Beyonce's album, dude. It's all her old fans, which is a lot. But you're not winning country album of the year. You're not a #1 country album. It's just crazy. And look, I don't want to,
Doorman, bro.
When you're doorman, Jude, Jay, like if you're listening, bro, help a brother out. You know what I mean? Put us on, bro. He can put you on for sure.
Jay knows Gash. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Jay's that guy, bro. He's come from, he went from an artist that nobody wanted to sign to the best, one of the best rappers, if not the best rapper of the era, and then maybe not the best of all time with the best album. And now he's, turned it into, I don't even know what he has, but he's billions of dollars, and he runs so much stuff. Now they're in charge of who performs at the Super Bowl. They got Rock Nation Sports. They got all this stuff. Like, shout out to Jay, man. He did it in a different way.
It's crazy.
And nearly anyone ever, so, we'll see.
It goes to show you though, man, like there are people, there's people at the top that run a lot of everything. You know what I mean? There's a select few that kind of control the puppet master.
And do not make Post Malone the next Super Bowl halftime show. Do not.
Please don't.
Do not. Please don't. Come on, Jay. Help us out, bro. You post up. Bring your boys on there. I don't care who you pick. Let Kendrick do that shit again. Do not
post.
Let Post Malone on there. No. Let's talk for. Let's throw a couple minutes at Iceman.
Yes,
obviously, we got 2 releases. What are your thoughts, and where do you think this thing's going?
First of all, I think the rollout's been pretty dope, man. The first rollout with What Did I Miss, when he's driving through the streets of Toronto. People figuring out where he's at, chasing the truck down. He's driving the ice truck. I think it was on the 4th of July, if I remember correctly. I was sitting there like it was
Friday night, 4th of July.
Just sitting there watching that whole damn stream, right? And I thought What Did I Miss was a great start to the rollout. Beats crazy. Message is, I think spot on for where he's at. Sounds like he's coming for heads. Sounds like he's like all this stuff. Like I think the whole vibe's like, after all I've done for all of you, you know what I mean? So fuck all you guys. Don't ask me for shit going forward. I'm going to show you like who made you, and I'm going to show you like, who's on top. Beats crazy, to your point, the beat switch, the whole rollout I thought was dope. And then I think, Which One? I love the track, dude. I love the beat switch. It's the versatility. That's just, something that's going to be a hit. Already is a hit. So the whole kind of rollout, and then he kind of left us hanging in the second portion of the YouTube stream where, there are some subliminal messages within that. Like he had Pinocchio chasing him. I don't know if you saw that. Like that means something, right? And obviously we know.
Oh, he's calling Kendrick Pinocchio.
Correct, right?
Pinocchio. Yeah.
And then he's got a bag with him. I don't know what's in the bag, right? And he's running. And then at the end of that stream, there's a beat drop that just sounded crazy that I know he's going to go crazy on. But
I think it's the intro too. If that's the intro, it's going to be crazy, like Tuscan Leather type shit.
Oh yeah, like Drake has always been, known for just fire intros, but the whole Iceman, this theme, I think is super dope. Like it's true, but I think this record probably, I think he feels like he has the most to prove. He has a chip on his shoulder. Sounds like he's dialed in, and the beef is probably the best thing that could have happened to him at this point of his career, because he was untouchable, really. You could talk about the whole, Pusha T thing, which was, I don't know, the story of Adnan or whatever it was. Like, people can say that was a great diss. I don't know anybody that's played that track in, 5 years. And I love Pusha T and I love the clips. We get into that later. But that didn't really do anything. But he was untouchable. This whole, I think, battle with Kendrick and everything that transpired within the battle put a battery back in Drake's back. And I don't know, I'm hyped for it, man. What about you?
Yeah, so here. I love the rollout. Actually, I was annoyed with the rollout at first because he's been doing all that Twitch streaming stuff.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
why is he doing this? Like he's discounting himself. Like he's on like every streamer's thing and he's like doing all that stuff. But what he's doing is adapting, man. And so he not only created a music video out of a stream, so that doesn't cost shit, right? And he probably has a budget for it, and he knows that they're never going to let him recoup it because they're going to charge him 4 times the amount for it anyways. He does a live stream, gets everyone on there, right? You get paid off the YouTube shit when your shit's that prominent. He's getting paid off of that. So everybody's on there. Then he, does a music video so he can use that later. And he could throw all kinds of other subliminals in this stream that, he didn't really have to do a whole lot for. He didn't he didn't need to go do a video shoot and all that. He sets this thing up. And that's actually a real business, I'm pretty sure. If you look it up, like it's actually
really?
an ice delivery service in Toronto. Yeah, I think I read something about people calling them or whatever, but he does that. Not like his next song that he does on the rollout with Central C. I'm not a huge fan of the drill stuff, but I actually like the vibe. It gives me like passion fruit vibes. Like it's a different vibe, and that's why I just love Drake because he can do that. I hope most of the album is more like What Did I Miss, where he's coming for people. To your point, most beefs that are prominent kill people, right? Drake didn't die in the Kendrick beef. Ja Rule died. Nas, I mean, for all intents and purposes, he's obviously still has some classics, but I mean, Jay put him fucking down pretty good.
Meek Mill, even though they're cool now.
He ruined Meek Mill's life, bro. Like bad. I mean, he ruined his fucking life. He was playing back to back in the same hotel above him, making him listen to that shit all night, right? He rented the hotel. So
Eminem ended some folks that weren't as prominent, but Benzino and all these guys.
And 50 killed. Ja Rule was going to be one of the most popular rappers of all time, probably. Killed him. So Drake didn't die. I love the rollout. I hope, and it probably won't happen, but whatever song Jay Prince didn't let him drop about Pusha, imagine if that was like a bonus track on this shit. Like he's got
gotta hear it.
Might as well burn it the fuck down, man. And I know he says I'm a Jay Prince investment, right? Like, but you know what? Burn it down. You got nothing to lose, especially if you can get out of your deal. Hopefully he can. So I was a huge fan of the rollout, and then like the next level to it, which I watched some UFC, but not, I was more of a boxing fan until obviously boxing's kind of dead. But, there was a time where like Chuck Liddell was the man in UFC and he fought Randy Couture. Randy Couture beat him, and Chuck Liddell's nickname is the Iceman. And what did he do in the second fight? First round knockout.
Knocked him out. Yeah.
Knocked him out cold first round. Chuck Liddell. Shout out Chuck Liddell. Hopefully the Iceman gets a first round knockout with this one, which we're hearing, to your point on the last pod, Halloween, October 31st, which is a Friday. And it could be maybe he has a song on there called like Michael Myers or something like that, and he just gets in on it. I don't know. That would be that's if you're going for like killing somebody, first round knockout on Halloween.
We need that energy, man, back in here. And the one thing the battle did do was bring good energy to hip hop, man. All eyes were on it. I love it. I think it's great. I think out of any music genre, hip hop is a sport, man. It's always been that way with the battle. Even if you look at, just rap battling in general. So it's a contact sport, bro. So I'm hyped for it. And yeah, man, hopefully he comes for heads because hip hop needs it. Hip hop's been, it hasn't been it for a minute. There's some people trying to bring it back, like our boy, the Killer Whales and some other folks, trying to bring that real sound back. But these new dudes aren't doing it for me. So we need that energy from Drake for sure.
Yeah, so I was going to say, real quick, give a shout out to Killer Whales of Gotham. Streaming's doing well. Rings is a banger. Hopefully Rings, pops into the NBA next year, maybe in the finals, kind of like Better did for the Knicks. You know what I mean? So also give that a listen. We also have a remix coming out. We're going out to New York City this weekend for the Kith Fall Drop. There's a Be Somebody remix with Gash and Jimmy on for Kith. So it's fire. I just heard the demo. I played it for Todd right before this. Tough. I mean, shout outs to Virgil in there. They got, shout outs to Nigel for the kicks and all kinds of stuff talking about Kith and our boy Pecas and Victor Cruz and Gash. And it's a fire song that's really fitting for Kith because obviously, Ronnie came from nothing. So excited to see it. I'm going to give you guys a hack too that nobody knows. the second 7-minute drill dropped in that beef, and they know the rumors that it was going to come down, I bought it. So if you buy it through iTunes, you still have it. So I still have 7-minute drill. I know none of y'all motherfuckers got 7-minute drill.
I don't, and I like that song.
It, bro.
J. Cole finally had, some, that's crazy. That I don't have that. Oh man. Yeah, Cole went in, man. Might delete later. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I have 7-minute drill. So you got to buy it like right when I remember when Kanye dropped that song right last February. The one with the Silent J and Bob like sampling it.
Yeah.
She fell in love with you. I fell in love with you. I love that song so much. I just bought it because it's Kanye. You know they're going to take it down or something. Right? So anytime you hear a song that might come down, throw that $1.19, $1.29, buy that shit. They can't take it away. And I learned that. Obviously, Gashi mentioned it to me, but I remember the reason that I stayed with Apple Music when Spotify got big and they went from iTunes to Apple Music was because I bought the blueprint because you had to buy everything. And remember, all Jay's shit came off and went on Tidal. Remember when they dropped the Kanye album, right? The Life of Pablo on there, and then all Jay's shit was on there. I was the only person out of anyone that I knew that had the blueprint because I had it from before. And obviously now it's on Apple and Spotify, but it didn't used to be. And so, all the stuff you buy, even if they take it down, even if it doesn't, if it's not cleared, like we got some shit that's not cleared, right? If somebody hits us on it, we got to take it fucking down. But if you buy it, they can't take it from you. I'm pretty sure because I still have all those originals.
And that happens all the time.
7-minute drill.
And
with 7-minute drill, which
if you like support the artist, if you like the artist, buy it. And to your point, a lot of times there's maybe beef with the streaming. They'll take stuff down. I know a lot of stuff that I've went to listen to again. It's not even on streaming or on Apple anymore, whatever it might be. So, buy it.
Right.
Buy it.
Like the Drake Fetty remix. Baby, won't you come my way? Right. Yep. All I got to do is put my mind to the shit. Remember? Like they had it on Apple Music with a different cover art and some other dude who's obviously eating off of it. Right. Because he uploaded it and called it something else. I don't know how he found it. But
sometimes you'll find that.
And they took that shit away,
Yeah.
So that song's long gone, but I should have fucking bought that shit because I would still have it. I did not. And that's one of my favorite Drake. Yeah, dude. So buy the fucking music. They can't take it from you. But what we will leave with is that, the labels buy the streams. They control everything. They control who's famous. They control who's not. If you're a 50-50 deal, you're not going to be famous. Like I heard going into, essentially the next Grammy cycle, Benson Boone's going to be the, next big thing. Obviously Jess Murph. And I heard there was one more. I can't remember who it is, but they're never wrong when they tell you who's next because they're in charge, right? There's so many talented artists, It's like there's so many talented artists, right? So they can pick which one gets it. So, shout out, Ronnie and Kith. I'm excited to see that this weekend, man. This was a good intro into music for us here. I mean, I could go all day long, but, we'll have to save that for future episodes.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Know this. The labels control everything, and Katie would bust Larry Joe's ass 7 days out of the week. If you learned anything today, know those two things.
KD's frying Larry Joe Bird, and the labels aren't in charge. Peace.
Can't teach taste. Peace.